Hey guys, I'm back. We've got Medic Box for February 2025. If I'm calculating and remembering right, this is going to be our last in the vehicle phase. Yeah, and then we start EDC next month. So I've got our vehicle trauma kit here that we've been putting together over the last couple months with our fire blanket, which doesn't quite fit in there. And I also have our fire extinguisher. So these are two of the plus items that don't fit necessarily in the pack, but they do fit, you know, somewhere in your car, hopefully. So I was gonna put the little two-eyed patch on here, you know, the little two eyes that came with the monthly EDC. And I said in that video I had the perfect place to put it. It would have fit right here next to iCause safety briefings. And it would have been great. iCause safety briefings with like the popping out eyes. But Ethan saw that patch and he loved it so much, I had to give it to him to wear on his backpack, to put it on there. So that's where that is now. So let's go ahead and get into this box, because I love this subscription so much. Let's see what they've got for us. No, that's the wrong side. Look, there's some cutting money that just got stuck to the box. Oh. Let's see if there we go. All right. So we've got a space blanket, CPR mask, that's what's in here. Sam splint, not sure what that is. Case bandage, tape, and then this looks like, is this a collapsible litter? A pelvic sling, okay, oh. And a box for Peter Kitty Cat. So, 1, 2, 3, oh, there's something else in here too. Oh, it's an ambu. Ambu is that's the tits right there. That's the maker of the good stuff. Sorry, I lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so here we are. We are at box number 6, phase 2, vehicle trauma kit. Let's get rolling right along. I'm so excited for this. I just want to say, start on phase 3 and begin. Oh, your compact everyday carry EDC setup. What could that be? I don't know. All right, so if you're curious as to how we got to here, you of course can just go, there's a playlist on my channel of all the Medic Box unboxings, and it also includes the phase 1 stuff for the IFAC kit, so you can check that all out if you want. So first we've got the SOF Special Operations Forces Tourniquet. Now, let's read. Does this really mean Special Operations Forces, or is that just where it came from? Trusted by military and first responders. It meets top ANSI standards and is the exclusive tourniquet of the American Red Cross. I did not know that, because it has been God knows how many decades since I was an actual American Red Cross first aid and CPR instructor. And I was an actual... Wow, this looks like... this looks like a harness to strap you in somewhere. I won an award from the Red Cross way back when for being the top instructor in the Nassau County chapter. Anyway, how's this work? Well, I'm guessing you just hook this in, which seems pretty easy. Tighten it, and then of course then you've got your twisty to exert some real pressure. And of course, if you know, all right, you know what, I'm not going to assume, oh, I forgot. We cannot get into any medical stuff until I do this. Stations, all stations, we have medical items in the box. I repeat, medical items.
Better get the old man down here. President's in his limousine. They're diverting to Andrews. The vice president is out of position, and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs is on his way.
Priority traffic. We are now at DEFCON 3. Incoming medical rant. All right, I'm going to keep doing that, just like I do it, you know, when there's medical stuff in any other unboxing. This is nothing but medical stuff. So, tourniquet. In case you don't know, in case you're new to medical stuff, we use tourniquets for extremities So don't put this around somebody's chest, waist, or neck. Yes, I've seen it. Arms or legs. It's going to go just above where there is a major bleed, and ideally on a pressure point if you can get it there. But the whole thing is, okay, so once upon a time, we used to, this is aluminum. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. When I was young and, we rode dinosaurs instead of ambulances, and, rocks were heavy and dirt was dirty, a tourniquet was your absolute last resort. Because back then, it was anything below that tourniquet they're amputating, they're cutting it off. But medical technology, and most importantly, medical transport technology, has changed and improved so much for the better. I guess you don't improve for the worse. Okay, dumb. But especially, in coming from military side of the house, when I was a combat medic, even back in medic school, we're talking 1997, combat medic school, it was still tourniquet is, you don't want to do a tourniquet, but in military medicine it's a little different because you don't have time to do all sorts of fancy bleeding control. Sometimes it's just like put a tourniquet so the guy doesn't die and move on. Now, they say use a tourniquet a lot more often because we've got better medical technology. And the thing is, we're able to get people to an emergency department so much faster. So you don't have all that tissue death and necrosis below the tourniquet like you used to. Anyway, so tourniquet goes on. Notice that it's not like a little rubber band. It's nice and wide. So you're spreading that pressure out a little bit. You don't ever want to use a rope for a tourniquet unless you got nothing else, because you're doing incredible damage. It can, I don't want to get into the cellular level and everything, but number one, it's going to hurt. You're going to hurt the person a lot, but it does more chance for things like crush syndrome and blah, blah, blah. That's beyond what I want to talk about here. So it's nice and wide. It's got kind of a padded area where you have your buckle, and it's got a no-slip area over there to really hold it in place. This guy, the twisty stick, it's got an actual fancy name that I can't think of right now. Once you get it all tightened on, this is going to twist. And you notice when it twists, it pulls the fabric a little bit. So it lets you get that extra snug tightness. And what this also does is that if you were to put this over a pressure point, it's making that knot of pressure right on that pressure point to really help stop that bleeding. Really, honestly, the only time you're going to be using a tourniquet is if somebody has arterial bleeding and they're just bleeding out. But this has some instructions in it on where to place it and how to use it, and it has the little thing. You always want to put the time a tourniquet is on there because, like I said, tissue death can result in anything below the tourniquet. So we used to just write in a magic marker on the guy's forehead, T or TQ and the time. But this is great too. I like this one though because it's bright orange, so it's very easy to see. There's no way to miss it. In the military, yes, we used OD green ones, and that's great against a green camouflage uniform, the old BDUs. So, strangely enough, there's no pouch or anything for this. That's just, weird. Normally there'd be like, I don't know, you think come in a pouch, but let me see where they want you to put this thing. All right. So, what we've also learned recently is that, hey, dumbass, me, I'm the dumbass. There's a picture of where everything goes on the inside. I don't know if I showed this to you last time or not, but I got it all fixed up to the molly board for the car. This obviously, our little seatbelt releaser, wouldn't be there, but I didn't have a visor to put it on, so I just put it there so it wouldn't get lost. So let's go ahead and get the pouch open. And start adding this to the kit. Big elastic spot. All right, tourniquet is fastened in to its spot where it goes. Moving on the card. Next, we have a control wrap, an elastic bandage with built-in brakes. Where is? I just saw it. Control wrap. Control wrap. control bandage with brakes. What exactly does that mean? Does that mean it's self-sticking, or does that mean it has those little metal things? I hate those little metal things. You remember the little metal things that used to come in ace bandages? Oh my god, and you'd have to clip them on. What a pain in the ass back in the day. Now, most ace bandages, we say ace bandage. Ace bandage, by the way, this is not an ace bandage. This is an elastic bandage wrap. Saying ace bandage is like calling any tissue a Kleenex or any plastic adhesive bandage a Band-Aid. That was a brand, but people just think that this thing's called an ace bandage. So with brake, I think they mean the Velcro. So why is this cool to have? Like we always have to talk about the difference between a dressing and a bandage. So your dressing, which we have a few of in here. Where is one right now? I don't know. Well, we have this new stop hemostatic dressing, right? So you can put that directly on whatever is cut open. You need to cover that though with a bandage. Number one, it holds it on. Number two, it helps with the bleeding control process, but it also covers it so that no foreign debris or keeps bacteria and viral elements out and stuff like that. So your dressing always is sterile. Anytime you can help it anyway. When you're in the field, you might not be able to, but ideally. Your bandage, since the dressing is already on the wound, your bandage can be anything you got. The elasticity of this is a real big important part because just like when we talked about the tourniquet, it lets you apply pressure. Now when you're, oh, here comes a kitty cat. You gonna come into frame and say hi? Come on over. Come on over. See the bandage? No? All right, maybe he'll come in. Oh, you saw he was there. When we apply pressure to a wound, we are squeezing those blood vessel breaks, right? So we're slowing down the flow of blood. Slowing down the flow of blood helps platelets accumulate. Platelets are what starts building that clot. It doesn't, I know somebody's going to call me out. I'm speaking in general terms. The platelets themselves don't build a clot, but they're the most vital element for it, for building a clot, okay? So being able to put more pressure on there and not have to hold it, just being able to wrap it up and then move on with your hands to other stuff. That's why these things are so good. And also, these can be used to wrap splints on and stuff like that. And I'm sure we've all seen these at the doctor's office used for strains and sprains and stuff like that. So, cool. This one also has, I believe, that right there, plastic part, is used so that you can wrap it around and then over itself and twist, and more pressure, nice tighter wrap for you. So where is this guy gonna go? This guy is gonna go way down here. Put it in from the top, I guess, or the side, or the other end. What are you? I forgot what this is. I don't know. What are you? Oh, triangle bandage. Cravat. That makes sense. This is the bandage section. All right. Kitty Kitty, are you coming over to see us? Why can't I get this thing in the elastic? There we go. Because I needed two hands. That's why. All right. It's pushing this right out of place. Okay. When I zip it all up, it'll fit fine. Oh, no, see, even this one is pushed up a little bit too. It's fine. All right, next, emergency blanket. Man, we should need no introduction to these. Didn't we already have one of these? Don't we already have one of these in here? I thought we did. Maybe we didn't. I could have sworn. Was I looking at something else? I thought we already had like a nice emergency blanket in this. I'm looking at it right here. So these are two different. This is a much heavier weight version of this. This is the old tinfoil space blanket. This is a serious, like, real emergency blanket. This is a much heavier duty. These guys just reflect body heat back onto the person. Sometimes we call them shock blankets. Okay, there's so many different kinds of shock. in movies, they just like to yell, they're going in, he's in shock. And, you know, he may be or may not be. I don't know. Is your movie or TV show accurate? When we're dealing with trauma, and this is a trauma pack, the kind of shock we're most likely dealing with is something called hypovolemic shock, and that's an easy word to pull apart. Hypo means less or too little. Volemic, you know, volume. It's having too little volume, circulating volume, and it refers to blood. So basically, your body, you're bleeding to death. Your body does not have enough blood to pump around the body, and mainly the big threat we're dealing with is you're not getting enough oxygenated blood up to the brain and to the rest of the vital organs. During shock, whether it's hypovolemic or other things, you know, your blood is what brings heat around to your body and keeps your body temperature up. During other kinds of shock too, you're losing body temperature. So this helps you maintain body temperature, and your body does not function very well when it gets too cold. I don't know if you've heard of this thing called hypothermia. Hypo, too little, small. Thermo, heat, if you're too cold. So this is good to have, and we see this in a lot of boxes. I know, I always complain, but in an actual medical box, it belongs there. So we're gonna have it and put it, you know, especially when we have like a, you know, a trauma kit. We might actually use this. And car accidents, you know, vehicle trauma kit. Boy, 1,000,001 chances for somebody to be bleeding severely. Wow, we're almost done already with this. That's craziness. I skipped the SAM splint completely. I don't know how did I get from 1 to number 4? How did that happen? Number 2, the SAM splint. I love the SAM splint. This is, all right, you know what this is? Somebody had the, so splint. Sorry. I got to keep myself focused. So when we have a broken bone or a dislocated joint, we need to splint that. We need to provide rigid stability. So the general rule of thumb is that if we have a problem with a joint, we splint above and below that joint, so we immobilize it so that it cannot move, that joint can't move. If we have a broken bone, we stabilize above and below that break so that that break can't move around and exacerbate. A SAM splint is awesome because it combines 2 very simple things into a very convenient to use product. It is a strip of aluminum, lightweight aluminum, and some foam padding. Now, these things used to be just like this very dull gray color, and they came rolled up. This one, oh, this one has like markings on it and everything. Radiolucent, meaning they can x-ray right through it, so they don't have to, like if you make a splint out of it and they send them to the ER, they don't have to do a whole lot of work to take this off, to send them over to the x-ray, because that, hi, here's a kitty cat. Hi, Petey kitty cat. Yeah, you want to sit on that because it makes a little crunchy sound? Can you get your butt like right out of our face a little bit? Thanks. So it can be very painful for the person to remove everything you got on there, and it can be dangerous because while you're removing a splint, what if you twist something around? So radiolucent means they can actually x-ray right through it and then figure out what they've got. So you can use the SAM splint. It's bendable into many different positions. You can roll it up. You can, what I like about this, what we loved on the ambulance, you always need to splint in the position of function. So for example, if you had a wrist, you don't just put it like this, because that leaves a big gap, and that can cause problems all over the place. So the position of function for the hand, this is not functioning, this is functioning. So you can actually roll up the end of the SAM splint and give them a little handle to hold on to, and then wrap it around the rest of the wrist and the arm, which is, you could also, by the way, since we're demonstrating things, bam, here's my hand position of function, secure it to the splint, and I'm good to go. But the SAM splint is cool because I could just roll up the end, and then have the person just hold on to that and then splint around. Anyway, there's 1.5 million ways to skin most medical cats. But SAM splints are great. I have a bunch of these in my old EMT bag. like in the old Sam Splint rolls. I think they were a little bit bigger than 2. But, you know, they have a bunch of arms they show you here. Oh, look, they're showing it right there. How it's rolled up and they have their hand in it. They have big ones you can use for legs. If it's an ankle, you can wrap it right around the bottom of the foot and come up around the ankle. And, I mean, these are awesome to have for any kind of first aid kit at all, because you never know. Even if somebody just takes a bad step and they trip, you never know how that could affect a joint or a bone. So I love these. I love Sam Splints. They're Samorific. What a great idea. This one's really light though. I think they've gotten a little bit lighter and more orange and blue than I remember. So number 2, the Sam Splint, goes in the top. We really are packing this up pretty good. I think I'm going to have to... Can it fit all the way this way? I'm going to have to fold it in half again. I don't mind. So it'll unfold when I need it to. Okay. All right, now we're moving back down. Sorry. Number 3, CPR pocket mask. I think I've talked about this during medical stuff before also. The most dirty, disgusting place on the human body is the mouth. It is gross. It is disgusting. It is a germ factory, and it is a great incubator for germs as well. Not to mention, when you're messing with the airway, there's other things to take into consideration. So, you will see these in use by EMS crews all the time. No serious professional EMS crew member does mouth-to-mouth. They do mouth-to-mask, or they do BVM, bag valve mask. Now, bag valve mask is, we can't do that here, but you see something just like this being held onto the patient's face, and they've got a little bag right here, and they squeeze. Usually like a clear or a blue, looks like balloony bag, and go, right? This also has a port for oxygen. So if you put this on the patient's face and you secure it, you can start an O2 line right into here, which is fantastic. But, okay, so why am I talking about all this? There is a good chance that sometimes when you're trying to do respirations, if you don't have that airway open just right or something goes wrong, you can put that air into the stomach instead. Now, this is not a life-threatening thing. It can be if you've been doing it over and over and they haven't been getting any air. It also can be because of what could happen. What does happen sooner or later if you put too many breaths into the stomach. Stomach's a balloon. You put too much air in a balloon, and then what happens? No, it doesn't pop. That's not what I'm looking for. The balloon shrinks again and the air goes. Unfortunately, there's a lot of other stuff in the stomach. And when the air goes, it takes all that other stuff in the stomach up with it. When you're doing mouth to mouth, you have that high potential for all that stuff to come up through the patient's mouth into your mouth. Which is the most disgusting thing ever. Or if you're quick enough to get away, it could projectile vomit all over your face or everywhere. This gives you that protection. And we're not even talking about other respiratory stuff. Listen, this patient might not even know that they are sick. They could have all sorts of stuff. The important part is this gives you a one-way valve. Come out. Is this one going to come out? Is this removable? You're usually removable and replaceable. Maybe this one's not. Okay. Usually they are. So that if it gets gross and grody from like puke, I'll have to read the instructions on how to do this. But it's a one-way valve. So you can breathe in, but nothing comes back the other way. So they can breathe up, they can puke, but it doesn't come back up to you. From my early first, days of learning first aid, when I was like, very young, I was like, oh, I'll do CPR and save somebody's life, but you breathe into them. Nope. For my first actual medical course, I was like, never putting my mouth near someone else's mouth. Not even kissing my girlfriend anymore. Not even doing it. Nope. Never again. But Sinead McMenamin, by the way, could not have picked a more Irish girl if I tried. But this is tell you got to value your own life. If you're not taking care of yourself, how are you going to take care of anybody else? So we've talked about the little plastic face shields. This is a step up from that. And this gives you a barrier to their airway and gives you a barrier from even touching them, really, because you can hold the mask on their face without having to put your hand on their face, which is nice too. People are disgusting. People are disgusting all over the world. So it comes in a nice little case. This one happens to come with some gloves, which is cool. Now this is not going to fit inside the little kit, but we could take this and we could get a little clip and we could clip it on to the molly board behind it, with a little tactical board, or we could attach it to, what we could do is, will this fit? I don't have enough room to do it now. I was hoping I could flip it on that way, but we could attach it to this board somehow. We can make it fit, but anyways, we'll attach it to here so it's with the bag whenever we might need it. Hopefully we'd ever need it, but you never know. And then number 6, we've got medical tape. Medical tape is a little different than regular tape. It sticks a little better and it's a little bit waterproof. The best medical tape I've ever used is 3M Transpore. Transpore. It's like 2 words together, Transpore. It's a plastic medical tape that has little pores through it. Very waterproof. It sticks very well, but it's also very easy to tear with one hand, which is super important in medical stuff. I haven't gotten it in a while, but it is the finest medical tape I've ever had. I paid for it out of my own pocket because the city didn't have it. City didn't use it. The volunteer station had it because we wanted it, but it was great stuff to have. So I'm throwing it around. Where is tape going? Tape is going right here. Get in there. Get in there. Okay. I'm trying not to squish my roll of tape. Rolls of tape in EMS get squished all the time. They still work just fine. But okay. And that fills out our bag. This technically doesn't go in the bag, but I wonder if I can fit it in here. I've been keeping it in the bag. Will this fit in this little guy? No, it won't. All right. The pro items, though, we get the pro box every month. They don't all fit in the pouch, and that's not a bad thing. They're just extra cool items. So let's see, what do we have? Responder pelvic sling stabilizes pelvic fractures with safe and effective force. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on with the pelvis. You know what I'm talking about. You know what goes on with the pelvis. Pelvic fractures can cause a lot of instability in the body. So the abdominal aorta kind of comes down right before the pelvis. It's a giant artery. I've seen one of them blow once. It ruptured internally. We had a very fit guy. He was like all muscle, like, 6'1", 280, nothing but muscle. He left the ER looking like Santa Claus because we kept doing CPR. His abdominal aorta ruptured, and all we were doing was pumping blood into his abdomen as he was like, if you're not in surgery when that happens, there's almost no chance you're going to survive. Below that separates into 2 large arteries that go down either through the pelvis, down through the thighs. A broken pelvis can cut either one of those major arteries. The femoral arteries, named for your femur, which is your big thigh bone. Pelvic fractures are also super painful. This is going to help you secure somebody and transport somebody out of there. I'm not going to open it up. I'm going to leave it totally sealed up because right now it's nice and vacuum sealed and flat. But this is a great piece of equipment to have. If this is your personal thing, and you use it on somebody that's maybe in an MVA, in a motor vehicle accident, you're not going to get it back. It's going to go to the hospital. It's going to go to the ER. It's most likely going to get cut off of that. Because to open it up and have them roll around and take it off them is going to be so painful. So painful for them. And again, risk injury to them. Just FYI, I'm just letting you know. You're going to use this one, so you might not get it back. But this is actually a really good piece of equipment to have. I've never had one in my hands. I mean, we trained with stuff like this, not this specific one. But again, these days, you know, things are smaller and better than back when I was doing any kind of EMS stuff. And these are pretty expensive, things like this. So to get this and for the whole package, you know, for the Pro and everything, that's pretty damn good. Really is good. So I hope we went a little faster this time, you know, for going over everything. So our vehicle kit is done. We have everything that's packed up in here. Again, I encourage you to go back and watch the previous couple videos. But we also have for our Pro box, because that's what we do. We have the pelvic stabilizing gear. We have this kitty cat coming by. We have the big heavyweight emergency blanket. We have the fire blanket. We have the fire suppression device. It's a fire extinguisher. The CPR blanket. We have the tactical mounting board. We have the visor mounted. I don't know if this is Pro or not. I honestly don't remember, but the stat gear gets you out of the car machine. And then we have, I'm just going over these because they're not in the bag, the pressure wrap, which is another bleeding control type device, but you could use it for other stuff too. So overall, I'm so excited. You know what? I'm a little upset that after the 3 box, oh no, there's 4. Okay, we got 6 boxes left. EDC for phase 3 and then home for phase 4. So I was gonna say I'm gonna be a little upset that only 3 boxes left, and then what do we do? So I'm super happy doing this medic box. Forgot who suggested it or who recommended it, but good on them. This is awesome. This is great. And I know that some of you guys out there are really excited and happy going over this with us. So, love to hear your questions, comments, old medical war stories. Those will always entertain me. What do you think of the vehicle? This is a pretty big kit that we've put together over the last 3 boxes. I like the IFAC. I really did, but this is really a good, it's not to treat everything. It's for the major stuff that you would see in an MVA for you to have in your car. Pretty good, pretty cool. So what do you guys think? Do you like it? You happy with what we saw in the car? I mean, this box, but the vehicle overall? You excited to get into the EDC like I am? I know I am. PETA? Off camera right there? Anything to say? No. Okay, he's a cat, a few words. So anyway, I thank you guys very much for spending a little bit more time with me. Hopefully you have it's like 2 in the morning. Hopefully you have enjoyed this unboxing and had some fun, or at least were a little entertained and maybe saw something interesting. Remember that you guys are all absolutely awesome, and I appreciate every single one of you. I'll be back again real soon.